Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel. My name is Scotty Kilroy. Today I'm going to be discussing which bike is the best starter bike. Obviously, in today's day and age, you have multiple choices you can pick from: a naked bike, sports bike, cruiser. But in this video, we're going to be discussing the level of CCs: 1000cc, 756cc, 600cc, and the 300, 400cc bikes. Now myself, I've been riding for 2 years. I currently have about 15,000 miles under my belt. I started off on a 750. I chose a 750 because I wanted something in between a 600 and a liter bike. So I started off with a GXR 750 2018. Now starting off on this bike wasn't difficult at all. I don't think speed played a part in the bike being more or less difficult to learn how to ride, because before I bought the bike, I was practicing on my friend's 600, and my other friend had a 300. I was practicing on both bikes. Now, obviously, when you're smart, you obviously know a 600 is way faster than a 300. So when you get on a 600, as long as you respect that speed, the learning curve shouldn't be that difficult. Now, what I did discover learning from all three bikes at the time, which is the 300, the 600, and once I got my 750, is the learning curve was the same as far as learning how to shift up, shift down, you know, how to not stall, how to take off. That remains the same typically on any motorcycle you start off on. So it wasn't such a huge learning curve as learning how to ride the bike, but obviously respecting the power. That's where the learning curve comes in, is where you want to be smart about the speed you're using and the way you're taking off, that type of stuff. But when you're new and you're not really into like this, you know, you're not really into that stage of being comfortable with the power, even on 300, you'll respect that power because you know you could possibly kill yourself. So the only learning curve is the speed, but that's not something you should worry about as a new rider, especially when you're just working on the fundamentals. What I did was I learned on the 300 and the 600, which belonged to two different of my friends. I learned on those two bikes. I was just basically every day just practicing, you know, shifting up, shifting down, stalling, how not to stall, like just working on the fundamentals of riding before I actually hit the road. And when I did hit the road, I didn't just go out, you know, just take off. I was going to one corner, you know, stopping completely, putting it in neutral, putting it in first, taking off, going to the other corner. You know, as time went on, I actually went to the corner and made a turn to go around the block. You know, I did that for like 2 or 3 weeks. I didn't just jump right out there. And even then, you know, regardless of what bike I was on, a 300 or 600, I was still respecting the power on each bike because I'm a new rider, and I wouldn't say terrified, but I didn't want to make a mistake that would cost me my life or hurt someone else. So we're gonna focus on liter bikes right now. So I had my 750 for 6 months, and I traded it in and bought the new 2020 BMW S1000rr M package. Now, I flew to Boston to pick this bike up. Mind you, I've never ridden a liter bike a day in my life. The fastest bike at that current time that I rode was my 750, which obviously is the liter bike is a huge jump from 750, especially the 2020, as being as aggressive as it is. So I picked this bike up, and my plan was to drive it all the way back from where I bought it from, which is Boston. I live in Michigan, so it's 656 miles, a 12-hour trip. Now I planned the trip out to where you know, I would do it all in one day. I didn't want to stop. If I did stop, it would be briefly, just to, you know, if my legs fell asleep or something like that, you know, just a little brief stop, get food, and keep going, get gas. My plane was delayed, so I was supposed to arrive in Boston at 8 o'clock in the morning. I didn't get there until 10 o'clock in the morning. It was rain was on the forecast for 11 o'clock. Obviously, you want to anticipate the rain a little bit sooner. That's why I booked an earlier flight to get there at 8 o'clock, so I had 3 hours before the rain started. But because my flight was delayed, I got there, and as soon as I picked the bike up, it started raining. So my first time on a liter bike, or 1000, whatever you guys prefer to call it, I had to ride it home 12 hours in the rain for 650 miles. A lot of you will probably think that was a bad experience, bad idea, probably went terrible. Well, no, it actually went great. Like, when I say great, like, I was blown away by the technology and rider aids on this bike that allowed me to drive 650 miles. My trip went from 12 hours to 15 hours because of the rain. So 15 hours in the rain, literally. And I'm not talking about just sprinkling. It was raining. Obviously, I pulled over from time to time, to relax and get, it was no drying off because I was completely soaking wet. I didn't have any mishaps. Like, I didn't have any traction problems. I wasn't on the bike scared. I felt completely comfortable, and it was weird. It was like, wow, because on my 750, there were times where it was sprinkled, and I didn't feel comfortable on that bike because it didn't have traction control, didn't have wheelie control, it didn't have any of those rider aids to make you feel comfortable. You had to actually learn how to be responsible, is what I'm gonna call it. Be responsible in the rain, and to think about the actions you were doing and how hard you put on the throttle. Obviously, my 750 did have two riding modes, A and B, but it didn't have traction control. So whether you was in A or B mode, only thing that did was made the throttle more responsive. It still delivered all the power to the bike. It just made the throttle less responsive. So back to the leader bike. So a lot of people say you should start off on a leader bike. A lot of people say you should start off on a 750 or a 600. They will honestly say, the best learning experience is on a 300. They're lighter, more nimble, easy to turn, not as aggressive. It's basically, they just say it's overall an easier bike to learn on. But like I said, I started off learning on a 300 and a 600, and I eventually got a 750 as my bike, and I upgraded to a leader bike. In the rain on this S1000, I'm telling you guys right now that was the best bike for me to learn on. Like, if I would have bought a leader bike from the start, I think I would have been okay, because the leader bikes in this day and age, the newer ones, my S1000 weighs 423 pounds wet. That's damn near the same weight as a 600. So people say, oh, it's lighter, 600 is lighter, it's easy to turn, it's more nimble. These newer leader bikes are light as hell, more nimble, easy to turn, so if you compare it to an older leader bike that's 460 pounds, 450, 470, maybe then it would be a good comparison. But now, with today's new technology and the way they're making these bikes, you can get a leader bike that weighs just as much as a 600, maybe even less. But the reason why I truly believe a leader bike is easier to learn on is because of the rider aids, because of the different power modes, because of the traction control, the wheelie control, the different power modes, and all the technology that's built inside the bikes. A lot of people want to argue, oh, I prefer a bike with none of the rider aids because you get to feel the bike and you can control everything, and you don't have electronic failures. That's cool when you're on a track. But if you just a regular person in the streets that want to ride a bike out with your friends and blah, 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 and you don't want to spend money on a 300, then spend money to get a 600, start off on you a great leader bike. Like, get one that has the rider aids, all the safety features. My bike came with a 3-year, 36,000 mile warranty on it. So from bumper to bumper, not bumper to bumper, but from front to back, basically. BMW covers everything. So when people are trying to convince you to not get a leader bike over a 300 because of these different reasons, which main reasons is, a 600 or a 300 is lighter than a leader bike, more nimble, not as aggressive. They just think it's overall you're going to drop it eventually, so you don't want to spend all that money on a leader bike, and you're going to drop it. But if you look at the money you're spending, you got to buy a 300. If you buy one used, maybe 15, 2,000 for 300. Then you upgrade to a 600. Let's say you think that's going to be your last bike. So you get a 600, you go out and buy a new one, $7,000 or $8,000, maybe a used or leftover, $7,000 or $8,000. Then you get on that and decide, oh, this isn't enough. You want something better. You want an S1000. They don't make those in 600s. So you got to go out and spend another 14 grand. Count the money you spent. 14 for the leader bike, 7,000 or 8,000 for the 600, and then the other 2,000 for the 300. You well over $30,000 invested into bikes. You could have just started off on a leader bike with the rider aids, with the electronics, with a good warranty and everything to help you ease into riding. Because I don't think that my experience in the rain was anywhere close as scary at all. Like, this bike, I felt completely comfortable and confident in my abilities, but it wasn't more so of my abilities, it was more so the bike abilities to keep me safe throughout my trip. I can guarantee if I was on my 750, I would have pulled over and waited till the next day to start riding till it stopped raining, because on that bike there's no rider aids, there's no help, it's all you and your throttle. And you hit a small puddle and your tire slip from under you, you basically gonna have a real messed up day, basically. So at the end of the day, I believe if you're going to spend money and invest money into riding a motorcycle, start off. I'm not telling you to start off. This is my suggestion. I mean, you can do what you want, but at the end of the day, if you're going to eventually want a leader bike, start off with a good leader bike, maybe something used that has the rider aids and everything, and go from there. Don't be afraid of what everyone is telling you. Like I did, I was scared to start off on the leader bike because everyone said I was too much, blah blah blah. But no one was telling me, oh, leader bikes come with rider aids. They come with electronics to help you, stay safe on the bike. No one told me these things. They just kept comparing power. That's all you hear. Oh, the power difference, the weight difference. No one even told me the newer leader bikes are lighter. Like I said, a Ducati, a leader bike, a Ducati, is basically what? How much is Ducati? You can get a used, $12.99 for maybe 15, 16,000, and they got all the rider aids on it, and it's light. So it weighs, maybe 10 or 15 pounds more than the 600. But people don't tell you that. Everyone basically just do a little research, not even do research. They just basically word of mouth. Oh, I heard the leader bike is more difficult to handle than the 600. Or I heard it was heavier. Or I heard you should start off as dangerous. No, it's not dangerous. Do your research. Leader bikes come with tons of technology on them, power modes, rider aids to keep you safe, to help you learn how to control that power or not misuse it. Yeah, I'm not saying you're going to get on there and just pull up the throttle back and it's going to be all good if I can protect you. No, you still got to have common sense. You still got to get on it and respect the power just like you would on a 600 or a 300. You still have to respect the power. What I'm saying is they make it easier for you to not make certain mistakes or the bike to slip from under you with the traction control or the bike to lift up the wheelie control and all that stuff. It's a lot. They put a lot more technology in it to make you guys safer, like to help us. So before you pick which bike to start off on, I honestly think you should do a little bit of research because maybe you may say like, well, I kind of regret starting off with my 750. Like I paid $9,000 for my 2018 GXR 750, leftover new, and then I just had to go pay another $25,000 for the BMW. Like that's $40,000 I just kind of wasted. When I could have started off with my BMW from the start. But it's just a lesson learned, and that's just basically gonna just be the end of the video. All I got to say is like do research before you go out and buy a 300, and then buy a 600, and then buy a leader bike. Do research. You may find it easier to start from a leader bike like I did. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button. I will be uploading more videos in the future. Thanks for watching.